All right, what is up? Welcome to Farrell Swim Tech. My name is John Farrell, and this is the swimming live stream where I take my 15 years of competition experience and 12 plus years of coaching experience to help you get faster in the pool. So this is brought to you in part by Team Zoot. I broadcast this show live on their channel, and I record it in order to upload it to my own channels, which for those of you that are wondering, it is Farrell Swim Tech on YouTube and Farrell Swim Tech on Rumble. As always, if you want to contact the show, if you want to contact me, get my take on anything and everything to do with swimming, farrellswimtech@gmail.com. You can also Instagram Farrell Swim Tech at Instagram, even though I am still terrible at putting stuff up on it. Let's see here. Hold on, I totally forgot to do one more thing here. There you go, that one. Okay, so today's episode is going to be on breathing. Now, let me kind of do a quick rundown on everything that we've done so far on this. Okay, we talked about pulling. Okay, pulling is everything to do with under the water. We talked about catch, which is that first quarter of the pull. Then we've talked about recovery, where we've talked about getting the arm over the water and back to the front as efficiently as possible. So we are now ready to move on to breathing. So breathing is done in conjunction with the recovery and the pull, and it has the potential to completely blow everything up. So what do we talk about with breathing? So first off, we have to understand, why do we breathe? Okay, well, we breathe in swimming, obviously, just like we breathe anywhere else. We need oxygen flowing into our muscles, okay? So the biggest question is, how do we breathe efficiently? How are we able to keep swimming and breathing at the same time? And why do I get so winded when I swim? Because I know there's a lot of people, and I see this a lot. I see it where people talk about being totally winded after a 25 or 50, or, a lot of times I see it when they try and go a full 100 without stopping. And then they look at this whole thing and they go, I am like dead after 100. How do you do this for like a 500 or a mile or 2,000 or 4,000 yards? How does this even work? A lot of it has to do with breathing, but a lot of it also has to do with how your body's using the oxygen that you get when you breathe. So let's kind of tackle that first. So a lot of times people don't fully understand what they're doing in the water. It's very apparent when I have people send me video and they just go, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. Well, when your kick is just this, that there's a lot wrong. So what happens when we swim? Okay. So what we do is we push off and we start moving our body. When we start moving our body produces carbon dioxide inside of the bloodstream, okay? We intake oxygen, our body as a byproduct creates carbon dioxide gas. So, full disclosure here, I'm a civil engineer. I deal with steel and concrete. There's a reason I didn't do exercise science, okay? So my biology knowledge is very basic, okay? Just roll with me on this. So, body produces carbon dioxide, gets into the bloodstream. Too much carbon dioxide in the bloodstream, it creates lactic acid. Lactic acid is what makes your body feel like poop. So, you start swimming and you start feeling like poop. And you're saying, okay, well, I'm breathing. What happened? Okay, let's break it down here. First off, is your body moving too much and not going anywhere? That's usually culprit number one. If you're swimming a 25, a 50, or a 100, and you're not going very fast, if you swim over 2 minutes per 100 and you feel like absolute garbage at the end of it, it is because you are horrendously inefficiently moving your body. That's what happens. Because what happens is you're moving so many things, and typically the legs are the biggest culprit because your legs have more mass, your legs have more body mass. You move your legs a lot. Your legs are generating a whole ton of CO2. And if you do not have a good, efficient breathing technique, you're not able to expel that CO2 and inhale the oxygen, and everything is going to be like garbage. In a perfect world, a relaxing swim, in a perfect world, swimming 2 minutes per 100 should be like a very slow walk. Okay? That's just the simple fact. Swimming 2 minutes per 100, I don't know how to swim 2 minutes per 100. I don't know how to make my body go that slow. So in relation, you should not be breathing hard if you're swimming 2 minutes per 100. That's just the simple fact. But why would you? How could you? If you're kicking your legs super duper duper fast, but have terrible kick technique, so therefore you just kind of wiggle your legs a lot, your legs are sucking up a ton of oxygen, you're not going anywhere. Your arms are moving super duper duper fast, but you're blading the water. You're not actually catching the water. You're kind of, flywheeling your arms, but you're not pushing anything. You're using up a ton of oxygen. Okay? So that's number one. If you're winded after 100, check your technique, or check your overall body technique. See if there's any ways that you can streamline that technique and get more power to stroke. But first off, focus on reducing waste. And like I said, legs are the biggest culprit. Bending the knees is always the biggest culprit. Learn how to kick without bending your legs. We'll go over that in the kicking episode. I think kicking episode probably is going to be next. So now you don't flail around a ton, but you're still completely gassed at the end of 100. Okay, now we start thinking about the actual breath, about breathing, okay? Do you hold your breath when you swim? That's the first question. Usually it's no. Usually it's breathe. You breathe in what's called every stroke. You take a breath, put your face down. Take a breath, put your face down. So every stroke cycle, you're taking a breath, and then it's back down, and then a breath, and then back down. That's called breathing every stroke. So can you be out of breath if you breathe every stroke? Yes. And there's one major way that you can do it is if you don't exhale underwater. Okay? So that's the first rule of breathing. You breathe in when your mouth is out of the water. You breathe out when your mouth is in the water. Why? Why do we want to exhale when our breath is underwater? Okay? Breathing and swimming, we want to normalize it just like we're on the bike or on the run. All right? We need to say, okay, breathe. Because when you're cycling, when we're running, we want to have a steady inhale, exhale cycle when we swim. Now, for me, I can do that breathing every stroke. Breathe, 1, 2. Breathe, 1, 2. All right? But for a lot of people, you tend to want to breathe every single stroke. So what can cause us to not have that regular breathing pattern? Usually the culprit is you try and breathe out and in while your mouth is out of the water. And we absolutely do not want to do that, okay? We don't want to go okay, you see, number one, either you have to pause the stroke in order to get the exhale and the inhale. Number 2, I get dizzy whenever I do that, okay? That's another reason why you're probably feeling like garbage. If you do the out in when your mouth is out to the side, you're kind of inducing a hyperventilation state. We don't really want to do that. So what we want to do is we want to breathe out when our mouth is under the water. So breathe, bubbles. I teach a lot of young kids right now, and and especially I got these 2 twins that I've been teaching for about less than a year now. And I'm finally at the point with these 2 where I'm really starting to teach them how to do like proper freestyle stroke. So I have them with a kickboard, and I have them do bubbles. They have them hold the kickboard at the base, and then they extend, put their face in the water, and they do bubbles, and then they breathe, bubbles, breathe. So it's teaching them how to be comfortable exhaling under the water and then breathing when they're over the water. These 2 are really terrible at it, but it's really cute. They'll get it one of these days. My 4-year-old son is also going through the same thing too. My friend and fellow coach actually works with him. You can't have your father teach you how to swim. So I kind of watch her and see what she does and kind of mimic a lot what she does. I'm mostly a technique coach. I don't really do a lot. I never classically trained in the how to teach little kids how to swim program. So I'm just totally winging it. I mean, I'll be brutally honest. Parents love it though. They keep coming to me. They keep coming to me wanting to teach their kids. Anyway, that aside. So we don't want to induce hyperventilation. We don't want to go because you do that about 20 times, you're going to have a headache, and that's not a good time, okay? So when we breathe, we want to get really used to breathing out underwater. And I'll talk about some drills and techniques and things that you can do outside of just swimming laps to practice on this. We'll do stuff in the shallow end, stuff when we're standing in the shallow end, sitting on a step, things of that nature. We'll talk about that later in the episode. So we want to be able to breathe out underwater and then breathe in with the stroke. So with this, we want to now be able to put everything together. So we now know, number 1, we got to check our stroke to make sure we're not absolutely wasting whatever oxygen we bring into the system. That's something that you can kind of do over the course of a long time. Now, and that's not necessarily related to the actual breathing technique, but it's kind of tangentially, it's in parallel to working on the breath technique. You want to work on the breath technique, and you also want to work on reducing the amount of oxygen sinks. Okay, so we kind of, in computers, we have what are called heat sinks. Lots of computer components generate a lot of heat. It's just the nature of the beast. So there's a huge industry dedicated to cooling PC components, okay? Trust me, the rabbit hole goes deep. So in swimming, we have oxygen sinks, okay? We have areas where a lot of our body's oxygen gets rushed to, and we got to minimize the amount of oxygen wasting in our system, okay? That's the easiest way I can explain this. So we now have reducing the amount of wasted oxygen. We have normalizing our breathing in general, where we want to exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So now let's talk about breath timing, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a video of me a number of years ago swimming freestyle. I really do need to update this. Okay, yeah, my poll video is the best video. So We're going to mute that. There you go. So when I'm swimming, when I take a breath, as my arm reaches forward, as we're finishing the recovery, my head starts to rotate. I breathe to my right. Here, we're gonna hit this on. Yeah, we're on repeat. So as you're kind of watching this, I'm gonna explain what I'm doing. So I take a breath about every 4 strokes on this video. Okay, so we want to develop a breathing pattern, and we'll talk about those next. But in terms of the actual mechanics, what is happening is as my arm's coming forward, I'm rotating to the side. So when I put my hand in the water and reach and extend, my mouth is on the side. I'm more on my side. My shoulder is rotated. I'm looking to the side. Basically, this much of my mouth is out of the water. And if you have form goggles, you can actually track this. If you have form goggles and an active subscription, the swim coach actually does track this. So if you wonder if you're rotating your head too much to breathe, and if you have form goggles, it is very easy to track this and kind of get some very good advice as to how to fix this. So as I'm reaching forward, my head goes to the side, and then my head is out as far as it's going to be at this point. When my left arm has reached forward, my right arm is in the back. I am just about ready to start the breath. And then you breathe. Okay, so right about here is when I'm halfway through my rotation. I'm halfway through the rotation, and I'm about ready to start extending forward. My other arm is down underneath me about halfway through the pull. As I finish the extension of my right arm, my head goes right back in the water. So what it is we need to time it so our mouth is out when we're fully extended, and then our face is back in the water, with the shoulder rotation. The shoulder rotation is key, okay? So when we talk about rotation, we talk about our spine being the central axis, and then as I'm looking straight at the camera, my shoulders are rotating around my head. So when we take a breath, as we're reaching up, the head rotates with the shoulders to the side. And then as we push down, we're halfway here. We then rotate the shoulders, and the face goes back in the water. So what we want to avoid is being here, and then go snap, take a breath, snap, neck snaps back over. We actually want to use our neck as little as possible to create that head rotation, because what winds up happening is you have these muscles back here in the neck, and trust me, this is from experience, okay? When you do long workouts, like for those of you that are pushing hour and a half to 2 hour workouts in the pool, what winds up happening is over time, your neck muscles back here get really fatigued, and you can totally pull a neck muscle. You're snapping your neck over too much. It's like right back in here. And this happened to me fairly frequently when I swam at BYU. I would be doing, because our workouts were typically 6, 7, or anywhere between 6,000 to 9,000 yards was our typical practice. I'm just gonna pause this now. So our longer workouts were anywhere between 8 to 10,000 yards. 1 second. So over the course of that time, there would be many workouts where my neck would just cramp. It would just straight up cramp, and it hurt like the dickens. Now, it's nothing threatening. It just really hurts. And just going home and relaxing it, and it'll go away. I have never had a chronic neck issue that didn't last more than one workout. It's always been one workout, and then it's fine. So I literally had to breathe to the opposite side in order to alleviate that annoyance, that pain in my neck. So just understand that is the reason why we want to use the shoulder rotation to get the face off to the side. So we rotate, take the breath, put our face back in the water, blow the bubbles down. Now, just like I've been talking about breathing every stroke. You see me in the video, I'm only breathing once every about 4 or 6 strokes. Now you're probably wondering, why on earth would you ever want to do that? So, let me make a pitch for you. Let me make a pitch. You don't have to breathe every stroke. You don't. Okay? Absolutely not necessary. And I talk about this a lot in my other videos. If you're really working on stroke technique, I highly recommend you kind of avoid breathing every stroke. The breath stroke throws a monkey wrench into the works in terms of our technique. Where if we're sitting down, if we have our face in the water consistently over a couple of strokes, we can easily look down and we can easily check and see what's going on. But when we rotate to the side, our whole plane shifts. Our whole center of everything shifts. So a couple reasons why the stroke can get completely blown out of proportion. First off, how do you rotate? How do you rotate onto your side? That question has to be answered first, because I would say the majority of the time people shove their arm down. So what they do is they reach, and then they reach here, and then as they pull down, they push down with a straight arm. Do you see? Because I'm right here, and then as I rotate down, that's when the shoulder gets on the side. All right? Don't do that. Don't push down to rotate. We want to reach to rotate. So as you saw, as I'm reaching forward, I'm doing the rotation. So the thing to think about is to practice this. You want to reach up and rotate. As you're reaching up, rotate to the side. Rotate to the side. Rotate to the side. Okay? So we want to have the reach be the rotation, not the pull be the rotation. We don't want the pull to rotate the body. We want the reach to rotate the body. Like I said before, as we reach, we have a condition. One arm back, one arm forward, and then we're on our side to take our breath. And as we take our breath, we're going to be down here. Now, another reason why we don't want to reach down to take our breath, if we reach down to take our breath, we're already halfway through the stroke. Your amount of time to breathe has effectively been reduced in half. Okay? You want to know why you're not getting enough oxygen? You're only giving yourself half the time to get the oxygen. Okay? So, either one of two things happens. Either, number one, your breathing time is reduced in half. Or number two, as you're here, and then you snap your neck to the side, like if you put your hand in here and bend the elbow, you snap your neck to the side, push down, and then put your face back over. So there's a combination of things that you can do wrong there. But essentially, if you push it down and you use that rotation to get onto your side, you're halfway through the stroke. This arm's up here. You're now starting to take your breath, and then you only have half the stroke. So if you reach here, you have the full stroke, you have the full recovery to take that breath. So that's number one thing you need to check. You need to check, when do I take that breath? When does my face get out of the water? Is it here or here? All right? Because both answers are not correct. One answer is correct, the other one is not correct. So, okay. So breathing patterns. Breathing patterns. What are breathing patterns? How do we use breathing patterns? So, I will openly admit breathing patterns are a fairly controversial subject between those that teach swimming. There are two major camps. Yeah, basically two major camps. Two major camps. Number one major camp, breathe every stroke. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Just breathe every freaking stroke. Number two, don't breathe every stroke. Just don't. You don't need to. You don't have to. Just don't do it. Okay? So, camp number one are basically the people who advocate for breathing every single stroke. I don't advocate for that. I don't advocate for that for two reasons. Number one, it induces hyperventilation if not done properly. That's number one. It induces hyperventilation, which in turn induces nausea, which in turn induces dizziness, which in turn makes you have a really bad time in the water, especially when you're swimming open water, especially if you're new. There's going to be a lot of things that could very, very quickly go wrong, and very wrong, as in like DNF territory wrong, where you have to extricate yourself from the water or you're really going to be in trouble, like serious mortal trouble. Like you hear about, like I read these where people get in the water, they start swimming, they have a panic attack, and then they're like, I don't know what causes it. I don't know. Check your breathing. check how you're breathing. First and foremost, how are you breathing? If you don't get enough oxygen to your brain, you're going to start to panic because you're kind of inducing a drowning state where you're not getting enough oxygen. That's number one. That's the number one recommendation I always make. Check your breathing. Are you hyperventilating breathing? Do you have what's the mechanics of your breath? Man, I'm getting dizzy just thinking about that. That, and it's also almost 6 o'clock in the morning. And I've been yakking for the past 45 minutes. Rate of strokes, speed driven by that. Okay, so speed is kind of a tricky subject when we're talking about breathing, because we have to understand a couple things, and this does have to do with stroke. This does have to do with breathing patterns. Okay, so we have the Olympic trials going on right now. Go watch the distance freestyle guys and go watch the sprinter guys. You are going to have two completely different camps in both of those territories. In the sprinter camp, you're going to have those that breathe every stroke. I've heard right now it is starting to become more of the meta to take a lot more breaths when you sprint. It used to be you put your face in the water and you move everything as fast as you freaking can. That's just what you did. Now there's people saying that they can make the stroke efficient and powerful enough to where you can take those breaths. I need to watch that myself. I haven't really watched sprint. I haven't watched professional swimming in years. I know. I'm a full-blown swimmer fanboy. I don't watch it that much. I watch clips of it fairly often. But go watch the trials. So, when we talk about speed, you kind of have a couple extra factors that are being introduced. Number one, when you introduce speed, your body is, unless you are efficient, your body is using up a lot more oxygen. Okay. And even if it's just increasing the stroke rate, hold up, I got a burp coming on. Okay, there you go. Even if you're the only difference is efficiency. If you're very efficient with your stroke, you can go a lot faster and not need to consume more oxygen. Stroke efficiency plays a huge role in breathing. It really affects your breathing patterns. It affects your heart rate. It affects a lot of things. Now, higher rate of stroke doesn't necessarily define more speed. The amount of movement your body makes is going to increase the demand of oxygen. The amount of force your body exerts is going to increase the demand for oxygen. So, normalizing your breathing is essential and key to be able to move up in higher speeds. Because if you're not able to intake enough oxygen, your body cannot support the demand that higher speeds put on it. If your body is not efficient with the oxygen that it gets, you cannot get faster because your cardio system cannot keep up. So basically, the rule of thumb is if you do cardio, if you regularly train for triathlon, if you regularly train running and biking, 9 times out of 10, it's not your cardiovascular system. Your cardiovascular system is good enough if you regularly train to go sub 145 per 100. And this is my case that I make all the time. Anyone and everyone should be able to go sub 145 per 100. It's not that fast. It really is not. Why? Horrendous inefficiencies with the stroke. That's it. You are not swimming efficiently at all. There are major technical flaws in your stroke. You are not capable of pushing. Your stroke technique is not simply capable of pushing the water backwards. Now, what does this have to do with breathing? This has to do with breathing because breathing continuously feeds the fuel of the stroke, okay? Our body needs 3 things to move. We need calories, we need water, we need oxygen. We need those 3 things. Oxygen, always the first thing to get depleted, okay? You deplete your oxygen reserves very fast. Try running while holding your breath. Try cycling while holding your breath. It is very hard to do those things. It is also very hard to do with swimming. But we have to hold our breath because we cannot breathe in water. Okay? So, now you're saying, okay, but now you're telling us to hold our breath and not breathe every stroke? Just hang with me. Hang with me on this. Okay? If you take multiple strokes with your face in the water, you are now working on pure stroke technique. You are not adding the extra external stressor of rotating onto your side, completely flipping your world 90 degrees. Okay? Now, how do we get around this? How do we work with our stroke and keep breathing? Because I understand there's a lot of you're not going to be able to go very many strokes without taking breath. That's where the snorkel comes in, folks. Where the snorkel, breathing in, out, keeping your face in the water, working on the stroke, okay? So that's number 1. $35 investment, worth every penny. And a good snorkel will last a very long time. So, now, about not breathing every stroke. I typically breathe about every 3 to 4 strokes when I am lazily swimming. So I got 30 minutes to kill in between lessons. I just start swimming. I get my little bit of swim workout in. I just swim. I swim for about 25 minutes and then I do my next lesson. So you're thinking, okay, well, how do you do that? And you breathe 4 strokes. My speed goes way down. And I'm able to basically put it on cruise control swimming about 115, 120 per 100, and I'm on cruise control. I am able to do this because my stroke is extremely efficient. I am able to efficiently move my body so where I move in the water without depleting my oxygen reserves. So this is something that you have to work towards. You work towards this by working on your stroke technique and taking time to not breathe every stroke, okay? Now, this brings up the next comment, breathing bilaterally. Honestly, I didn't know the term bilateral existed until I got into triathlon. We always called it breathing every other stroke. Breathe every 3 strokes, 5 strokes, 7 strokes, 9 strokes. If you go 11 strokes, you're basically only breathing once per 25. So what is this concept of breathing bilaterally? Breathing to the right, taking a stroke, breathing to the left, stroke, stroke, right, stroke, stroke, left. So you're breathing to both sides of the body. Now, do you have to do this? No. It is not required to breathe to both sides of the body to be a respectable human being and a swimmer. Let me just put it out there. Is it a good idea to learn this? Yes. It is a very good idea to learn how to breathe to both sides. Now, how do we learn that? Well, we learn that by doing the drill we've done before, which is side kicking, okay? So, slap those fins on, and then you can do this 2 ways. Number 1, just kick with your head to the side. Get used to being stacked on your side. Get used to being comfortable with your head to the opposite side, and just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay? Put your body on the side, go kick, 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 and just continuously breathe as you kick. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, side to side drill. So breathe, stroke. So breathe, kick, 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 kick. Breathe, kick, 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 kick. Breathe, kick, 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 kick. Okay, so this is teaching you how to reach and breathe. That's actually, the side-to-side drill is the number 1 drill for learning how to reach and breathe. Just get used to, as you reach, that head is rolling to the side and you are extending out and kick, 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 kick. Okay, that's how you use the side-to-side drill. It can be used for both overall breathing technique and learning how to bilateral breathe technique. Like I said before, I typically breathe every 3 to 4 strokes, and I will openly admit that's how I start most of my races. Well, that's my long gear for most of my races. So, a real distance swimmer will have what are called gears. This is how I teach distance swimming to all the high school kids club and high school kids that I work with. You want to have multiple gears. So strong, long, build, fast. Okay, those are your 4 gears. And how long you stay in those gears depends on the event. So you're swimming a 200 freestyle, you got four 50s, first 50 strong, second 50 long, third 50 build, fourth 50 sprint. Okay? You're swimming a 500. Your first 100 is your first about 75 to 100 is strong. And then your next 200s, your next 2 100s are long. Okay? Long stroke. Fourth 100 is build, fifth 100 is all out sprint. So, and then, well, the sprint and the strong at the beginning, the bookends of the race, those can vary. It can either be a 50 or 100. It depends on the swimmer. It depends on the capabilities. So when I swim my distance events, I usually go out strong about the first, 100 max. And I usually just guesstimate what 100 is. And then I shift into my long gear. That's when I start going into the breathe every 3, breathe every 4 strokes. And that is where I am reaching, extending distance per stroking, and trying to be as efficient with my oxygen as I possibly can. I like breathing every 4 strokes in open water because it allows me to center my head and not be, not be thinking of siding every single stroke. So it allows me to center my head and reduce the dizziness that I often get when I do open water swimming. I get fairly dizzy after long bouts of open water swimming, and that's just because I don't train it enough. I train a lot more pool swimming than open water swimming. Open water swimming and pool swimming are completely different beasts. That's all I'm going to say about that. So breathing every 3, breathing every 4, that's about 4 strokes is about the maximum you're going to want to go. So basically you breathe every other time to the same side. So I take 1 breath, 2, 3, 4, breathe, 2, 3, 4, breathe. So as you see, my face is in the water for 3 full strokes, and then I take my breath. This allows you to kind of keep your head still, work on the technique, focus on what you're doing rather than just go blah, 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 blah. I mean, that makes me dizzy. Why do people do this all the time? I don't know. So anyway, okay, so that takes care of breathing patterns. We talked about technique. Talked about patterns. Okay. So now, we talked about the drills. So the main drills that you want to do is side to side drill and kicking on your side. Kicking on your side gets you used to, just nice and easy right here. Also, it's really good to work on your kick too. Huge challenge mode. Do side kicking without fins. Have fun, folks. So, no board when you kick on your side. Not allowed. Just don't do it. It's going to make you a better person. Trust me. Okay. So now to round things off, what do you do if you are a real novice at swimming and you have problems with the basics of breathing, which is breathing out to the side, putting your face in, breathing in, breathing in when your face is out, breathing out when your face is in. So what do you do? So what you want to do is you want to go to the shallow end. Go to the shallow end, go to the steps going into the pool, somewhere where you're very comfortable and you can stand. 1 second. Oh man. All that side to side head shaking, it's really starting to get to me right now. I'm actually feeling a little dizzy right now. Anyway, I'm okay. Trust me, I'm okay. So what do you do? You stand in the bend, put your face in the water. Okay, you just kind of bend over, put your face in the water. Blow bubbles. Get used to blowing out bubbles underneath the water. Just get used to it. You can blow out through your nose, blow out through your mouth. Doesn't really matter. There's no wrong way to do it. The only thing you got to do is blow that CO2 out of your system. So you put your face in the water, blow out. Take your face out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Okay, and this is really something good to do when you do open water swimming. Just do the same thing, okay? Especially for those of you that are very new to open water swimming. If you're incredibly new to open water swimming, you're going to want to do this. This is one of the things I always recommend. If you're new to open water swimming, spend some time getting used to being in the water without shoving off and swimming. Just get used to it. You're in a wetsuit. This is very constrictive, very different than just swimming in a normal swimsuit in a pool. Especially if you don't have a competitive swimming background. If you don't have a competitive swimming background, you're not used to wearing super duper uber skin tight suits. And there's a different feel to them. There's a very different feel to it. So you need to spend time getting acclimated to being in the water. Same thing if you're relatively new to swimming. So what you want to do, put your face in the water, breathe out, take your face out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Take it slow, take it easy. Nice long breath. Deplete all the air out of your lungs. Okay? And then bring your face out of the water. Take your breath in. Back in the water. breathe out. Okay? We want to get used to taking long, controlled breaths. We don't want to go, all right? When we bring the face out, all right? If you watch me breathe, I'm going, okay? My mouth is about this far open. About that. That's about where I am. You don't want to go. Remember, the wider your mouth is, the more easily water can get in it. That's a problem. Breathing in water is a problem. So, what do you do when you breathe in water? It's going to happen. You're going to get a mouthful of water every once in a while. You're going to misjudge a piece of chop. You're going to swim by someone in the pool. You got some jerk doing butterfly right next to you. You're going to get a mouthful of water. Just understand going into it. It's like eating bugs on a bike. You're gonna swallow a bug every once in a while. What do? Honestly, my best advice is just keep going. Cough it up, cough it out. It's going to take a couple coughs. It's going to take a couple big throaty mouth clearing coughs. It's going to take a couple of those. You just keep going. The worst thing that you can do is breathe a mouthful of water, stop, put your feet on the bottom, cough it up, take some time, and then start swimming again. That's the worst thing that you can do. And the reason why, like blowing a candle, absolutely right. Señor Alberto Vivas tiene la oración correcto. Es como soplar un candle. I don't remember how to say candle in Spanish. Shoot. I'm mostly fluent in Spanish, but there's some words I just never, ever use, so I just never learned it. So anyway, so yeah, you want to have a nice, long, steady breath in, breath out. Vela. There you go. Thank you. So you want to be standing in the shallow end, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay? So then you want to start swimming very comfortably. If you need to work on your breath technique, start by going very comfortably. Honestly, I recommend using a pull buoy. Because you're taking your legs out of the equation. If you need two, use two. Use enough buoys to get your butt floating, okay? You want to eliminate the need to kick. So, when we eliminate the need to kick, what we also do is we get our legs nice and together. Very easy to rotate when your legs are together. Usually the biggest problem with people and rotation is their legs. Their kick is so big, when you try and rotate, it's just like trying to rotate something that's got a very wide platform to it. It's really hard to do. We want to keep everything nice and compact, so when we kick, we actually want to be working on a nice small kick. We're going to talk about that next week. So we're going to be, hold on. Sorry, there's a problem with drinking soda in the morning on stream. You get the burps. So you want to have long kick, and then get onto the side. If you have a terrible kick, use the pull buoys. So then work on reach and pull, reach and breathe down, breathe down, breathe down. Okay. So work on slowing the stroke down, focusing on the timing and the reach. Those are the two things you want to work on. You want to time the head to rotate to the side while you're in your reach phase of your recovery, and then as you pull, you are taking your breath, and then you rotate down when the other arm is reaching. Slow the whole stroke down. Focus on that. That's what you're focusing on. Incorporate this into your swimming, okay? 50 pull, 50 swim. 50 pull, 50 swim. 50 pull, 50 swim. 50 pull, 50 swim. That's how you're going to work on this technique. Just like I say before, with the drills, incorporate the drills into your swimming. Incorporate the drills with a specific task in mind. You say, okay, doggy paddling. I'm going to incorporate doggy paddling. What do I work on with doggy paddling? I work on the catch. I'm going to use pulling to work on my breathing technique. Why am I doing this? I am doing this to work on my breathing technique. So when I swim the 50s without the buoy, I need to work on reaching to the side, putting our face down. Reach to the side, put your face down. This is one of those ones that's very, very, very easy to see if you film yourself. Get someone on the pool deck with your cell phone. Take video of yourself. Watch the video. Send it to me. PharoSwimTech@gmail.com. I can review it for you. If you cannot see if you are good at breathing or not, send it to me. PharoSwimTech@gmail.com. Send a crappy cell phone video. I don't care. 90% of cell phone videos are capable of 1080p video. That's all I need. I can see that. I can help you. I do swim technique analysis, and I can definitely help you do that. Now, what are a couple things that could really hinder this? Flexibility. Flexibility is what brings up my topic for today, my affiliate for the stream, which is Dynamic Triathlete. Dynamic Triathlete is a affiliate of the stream. It has great stretching and mobility routines. I just did an upper body stretching routine last night. I felt fantastic. My upper body is prone to cramps and stuff like that. And doing the upper body routine last night was just absolutely fantastic. They now have pre-swim workout warm-ups. So good stretching routines and mobility for warming up before you hop in the pool. And they have wonderful 20-minute stretching routines every day. They got an upper body one. And they also have training plans. They now have training plans for sprint, Olympic, half and full Ironman distance triathlons. They basically have one plan per distance. So if you don't have a plan, these are 8-week plans, and they include swim workouts. And I've looked over the swim workouts. The swim workouts, they're good. They're very good. They're very descriptive. They're very detailed, and they will help you with your training. Now, is this the end-all be-all for triathlon training? No, but it's a very good blueprint on how to execute a good training plan. And then with the stretches that are involved, mobility in swimming is key. If you don't have mobility, dynamictriathlete.com. Check the link down in the comments below. Offer code SWIM, SWIM, for 10% off your purchase. So that equals about $80 a year or about $8 a month. They got a monthly plan and a yearly plan. You save about. Hold on. Yeah, I hate it when you're talking and then just something dislodges out of your teeth and you're like, gross. I could have totally not said that, but I did because I do things like that because I have ADHD. So stretching, Dynamic Triathlete. Yes, please get me back on course. Offer code SWIM, about $80 a year or about $8 a month if you use offer code SWIM. Any purchase with offer code SWIM does help the stream. So, yeah. Please get my mind back on track, somebody. I can't do it. This is why you come here, for me making fun of myself. Hey, you know what? If you like watching me make fun of myself, you should check out my other streams that I do at night. I do video game streams at night because I'm a dork. So check out the link tree. You're going to see all this stuff. Also, if you want to buy yourself a snorkel, check the Amazon link in the link tree. There's a link for my Amazon store where I have recommendations for stuff that is not Team Zoot affiliated. A lot of the stuff is stuff that I personally use or have used in the past. It's all the stuff that I can recommend for you to build out your arsenal if you really want to go crazy into swimming and get better really, really fast. Yeah. So I think that's honestly about it for breathing. I understand breathing can be very problematic, especially if you don't really understand how all the mechanics work. But if you do the tips and ideas that I've shared with you, trust me, it's going to be a lot easier. I have my coach I had at BYU. The guy can literally go 3,000 yards without seeing. Like, he just closes his eyes and he swims for 3,000 yards. And the dude is a freaking machine. I've watched him do it before, and it is just amazing. I can't do that. I'm way too unpredictable with my stroke. I am predictable with my stroke. I just don't have enough faith in myself to do that. Theoretically, I could figure out how to do that, but I don't want to. But being able to regulate your breathing during swimming will unlock longer training sessions. Just like I say, if you struggle swimming more than 100, which I know that there's a lot of you out there that struggle with this, please work on your breathing. feralswimtech@gmail.com. Send me some video. Let me know how I can help you. A lot of the stuff that I talk about in these episodes are stuff that you give me. So feel free to email me. This doesn't put you on some list or something like that. I'm not going to hit you up with a bunch of authors. I don't sell your information for quarters. But I'm here to help you. And as always, big shout out to Mark Goddard for allowing me to do this. I can breathe and I can kind of swim, but both together, not so much. Well, Nelly, trust me, you just keep working on this. Just keep working on these concepts and take it slow. Take it easy. When you work on technique and stuff, really focus and hone in on one or two things during a week. You don't want to work on too many things, because if you work on too many things, you're not really going to master any of them. The progression goes, you work on the technique until you don't have to think about it anymore. But when you work on the technique, you got to focus all of your stuff, all of your mental faculties on that technique. You work on that technique, you incorporate it into your muscle memory, you move on to the next technique. The dirty secret about swimming or cycling or anything is we are always working on our technique. We are always finding inefficiencies in our stroke. That is why you still see world records being broken. Okay, we used to think back in the early 2010s, when the full bodysuits were banned and they only had the jammers, we were thinking, well, there goes the world records. They're not going to be broken again. They keep getting broken. Okay, they keep getting broken because people figure out how to do stuff faster. They figure out how to do stuff better. The technique is always evolving. So we need to figure out how to, even I still work on my technique every time I swim. I always do drills. I always do mental thinking. Okay. I know for the most part, I'm not as fast as I used to could because I'm 40. I've gotten older. Okay. I don't claim that I'm old. I'm older. I'm older than I was at 20. Okay. Holy crap. That was a half a lifetime ago. Oh. So you focus on the technique, you master the technique, you move on to the next technique. You revisit the technique every once in a while. You think, mental checkups. How's my breathing going? Am I shooting my hand down to take my breath, or am I reaching forward to take my breath? These are little things that you can keep working on during your swims to help work and incorporate these techniques and make it a part of your muscle memory so you don't have to worry about it anymore. So anyway, that's going to be it for me. I got to wrap things up, get inside, and get my kiddos ready for the day. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you very much, everyone that talks and chat stuff. DynamicTriathlete.com. Go check them out. Offer code SWIM, SWIM. Check out the link tree. FeralSwimTech@gmail.com. Please hit me up if you have any questions whatsoever. So I'm out of here. So keep training, folks. Next week, we are going to be talking about kicking. We are going to do the kicking episode next week. The kicking episode is always the fun one because this is the one that basically, if you don't have good kicking technique, you are going to sink. You're going to sink. Your legs are going to sink, and there ain't a dang thing you can do about it. So, all right. So thank you very much, Alberto. Thank you, Jose. Thank you very much, everyone that talks in chat. Once again, I'm out of here. I'm out of here for good this time. Good night, Isaiah Norris. Wherever you are, I'm out of here. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.